Hey everybody, welcome into the Beehive. I'm your host, TheBee LLC, and this is where we stack precious metals like it's pollen and nectar. Our pollen is silver and our nectar is gold, preserving our wealth as honey of old. Like ancient metals, we hold our own. And today we have the privilege of speaking with Ian Everard from ARK S.G.O. Silver Gold Osmium. Let's bring him on up. Mr. Everard, how you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. Well, another couple weeks, quite a bit of price movement since the last time we spoke. How are things looking up there in Jackson Hole, Wyoming?
Yeah, a bit of a extended summer. Nice blue skies and hot. Yeah, beautiful weather.
No snow on those slopes yet, huh?
No, I hope it stays away for a month or two.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we got gold hitting all-time highs again. And
Yeah, and I just saw about an hour ago it broke £2,000 sterling. So even that was be a fairly psychological event for Brits, I think.
Okay, cool. Nice. Yeah, it seems to be there's kind of several psychological events going on. We have it in the US with the dollar topping all times high, and that should, I would think, have an effect worldwide. I think a lot of people, if they were watching gold, I mean, they would watch it in their own currency, obviously, but the other thing they would watch is this dollar value, I would think, right?
Yeah, and the precious metals seem to be getting a bit more mainstream commentary.
Yeah. Yeah, I noticed that too. We got a bunch of people here in the chat. Let me run through them right here, right quick. Neil's Han Dynasty, welcome in. James Unleashed, Gerald Draper, thanks for being here. Chew, thanks for being here. Space Miner, Neil, Silverboy Blues, thanks for coming in. Yeah, so yeah, I would think that people might be starting to wake up a little bit in that area. I've noticed. I think I'm kind of noticing a shift there as well. Kind of a little bit more mainstream news coverage, and silver, even though it seems to be getting nagged on quite a bit. Really, if you look at it, it's doing pretty. It's neck and neck with gold at least.
It's
Year.
almost keeping pace, isn't it? Year on, the rolling year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
it's only 1% or 2 behind gold.
Yeah, and it's really getting dogged on. So that's kind of positive in my eyes. I think we might be nearing some good moves, but I don't know. I know we went through a little bit of a dry spell there of late, but what are you thinking on it?
From inside the industry, talking to the major wholesalers, I think they're pretty positive. Not necessarily on the retail trade, but actually on the spot price.
Yeah.
One in particular is calling $37, $38 silver this year. So that would be another 20-odd% from where we are.
Yeah, boy, that I would think that would be some psychological level for silver. I would think over 35. I mean, I know obviously if we were to break 40, I mean that's a big one. But I would think over 35 would be pretty news headline grabbing.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they're going to try and pull off another smackdown, or they're going to let it form a base around the $32.
Yeah.
I see Space Miner is giving us all of the spot prices. I think he's looking at the futures. They look a bit higher than the bullion by post spots that I use.
Dub C is here for the dubstep. Good to see you, Dub C. Yeah. So some interesting stuff definitely happening there. The gold silver ratio. I mean, I hear still a lot of negativity on silver, but for me, and I guess the timing I got in, I'm fairly happy. I've been telling myself this past, whatever it's been, 6 years or so, that when what I feel like the time that we're in right now, where gold is starting to really dominate the headlines, and you know, percentage wise, I mean, not percentage wise, but the value move in gold, you know, being that much value in that little bit 1 ounce of gold, I think it just carries a lot of weight with it. And I knew that during this time, you know, it's probably going to be hard to hold on to your silver and not sell it and go buy gold because of the hype about it, you know. But I think you know, I don't think that would be a smart thing to do. I think it would, you know, we gotta hold on the silver, because you know, for me, and like I said, where I started, we're almost neck and neck with gold. It's just everybody's still so negative on it. But and I think most everybody would admit that it's, you know, got that extra volatility in such a small market cap that, you know, man, and it's so undervalued, and everywhere you look, and the gold silver ratio, yeah, I mean, I just see that thing, it looks really good to me.
Yeah, I mean, when you factor in the high premiums on fractional gold, silver, it looks even better value, because, you know, although it's a higher premium per ounce, you've got that $2,700 nearly for a gold coin now, or actually more.
Wow.
And still sort of $33, $34 for a silver coin.
Yep.
So as if you view silver as fractional gold, which
Right.
I say it is,
Right.
because they're joined, you know, big brother, little brother, whichever way you want to look at it. And silver's always what space miner pulled up there? I think he's got, he's done that he's converted it to troy ounces, $51,540 a troy ounce.
There you go.
So yeah, no, I when people say silver's not performing, it is, but it hasn't really started, and I don't think gold really has either. I mean, I've been saying that about gold for 3-4 months.
That's
you know, every time it moves, well, it hasn't started giving a full account of the currency debasement.
Yeah.
And the currency debasement hasn't stopped.
Yes.
So
and silver's not even aware that anything's going on in that area yet, it seems like. So man, I just see explosive.
Yeah, and you look at all of the people long standing in the industry, Mike Maloney, David Morgan, you know, when they talk about and show the previous metals moves, silver's always late to make its move.
Yeah, that's what I was telling myself all this time, is when you feel like everybody's, you know, all on the gold boat and it's taken off, don't jump out of your ship and sell everything and run to gold, because I think I still want to get into more gold. It's not that I'm down on gold, but I just think, being I'm got in where I did on silver, and as much as I did, I think I can still gain a little bit a value to gold, and end up with a bit more gold in the end, is my.
Yeah, I mean, my instinct is that silver is the people's money, and it will start to perform that role, definitely as preservation of purchasing power. And maybe there'll be some legislation or something come into play that makes gold less accessible to people. I don't know. It's so I heard this morning from a friend of a friend. They purchased gold with a certain bank. I won't mention it. They purchased gold with their credit card, and they had all of their accounts closed because that bank said it was they broke some sort of rule purchasing gold with a credit card.
Some new rule that's coming down.
So I'm going to research out a bit more, see if I can actually get some documentation on that. But I think that could be a forerunner that they're going to make it really hard for the public to buy and sell gold.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm sure you heard about the Israel mentioning that they might outlaw or make it illegal. I'm not sure the exact details there either, but there was some talk over there.
Really?
Yeah.
And I guess that's a desperate attempt to try and keep their fiat currency
Yep.
as the only functioning means of exchange.
Yep.
Well, that's the old saying, isn't it? Don't steal. The government doesn't like competition, and they see it as us stackers stealing by opting out of their system.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's that's more what that's the reason I got into it. So
Yeah.
so there you go. Yeah, and unknowledgeable too. I mean, I'm surprised more people haven't come into it yet, to be honest. But I think that's coming, especially with these headlines in gold, and even like when, well, I don't know, but for all I know, that gold and silver trying to make it illegal to purchase or hold or whatever in Israel might have a backfire effect. I mean, you're just pointing out.
Draw attention to it for sure,
Yeah.
and sort of parallel to that, it seems very strange to me that purchasing gold and silver is a non-reportable event. And the only reason I can think that the system allows the public to buy gold and silver without reporting it to the government or to the IRS or to your state or to anybody is that the financial elites are heavily purchasing, and they don't want any reporting legislation.
I've had
the only conclusion you can come to, because why every I mean, if you fart or blow your nose, you have to report it now, don't you? I think.
Yeah.
And like almost compulsory medical treatments, which I won't.
Yep.
Talk any more about.
Yep.
Just don't want to get you demonetized.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
Everything else is known, isn't it? And even most people put way too much out about their personal lives out onto the internet, so then it's known forever.
Yep.
So to be able to use currency, overvalued currency, to buy undervalued money, yeah, it's also see Stacker, he uses his Costco credit card to purchase gold. Yeah, well, it's okay buying from Costco, but who are you going to sell your gold and silver to? If it gets really,
yeah,
as an independent dealer, it's I don't think we're losing any trade to Costco, but it's fine that they do this, but they won't ever buy it back off you.
Yeah,
they won't ever help you place it if you need to sell it.
Right.
Yeah, it's definitely. And maybe that's part of the plan to devalue it. Oh, look, you can even get it in Costco. It can't be. Maybe that's part of the plan.
Well, I mean, I think it's been selling at Walmart and for quite a while, and Costco, I think, has just kind of picked up on it of late. And I see that just as part of this, sign of the times. And I think it will actually bring in more people, the people who do just stumble kind of across it, not know what they're doing, and think, oh, it might get a little bit. Now they have an interest to when mainstream news says gold or says silver or starts mentioning it. And then, that might bring a lot of people, and pretty soon they may end up going to an actual coin shop, or something. So it might drag some people.
If there's any left, talking to one of the major wholesalers, obviously they know a lot about the smaller businesses because they supply them. And he was saying he thinks that there's a large number of coin shops that have been around for a long time, that the owners, if they can or when they can, they will just shut up shop.
Yeah.
So we could actually lose a lot, and yeah, am I knocking Costco for selling gold and silver and Walmart? And it's in a way, it's I mean, it's the Amazon effect, isn't it? They could sell it at cost or even at a loss just to get people in the store. In fact, they make their money by the subscription.
I mean, they know there's OC stackers out there.
Well, they make their money by subscription, don't they? They get their $100 per year from 27 million or 40, however many millions. So they get their 300-400 million, whether people buy anything from them or not. So they could sell everything at break even and still make money. So
I mean, from
the Amazon syndrome, putting lots of small businesses out of work. It's like, what sort of country do we want to live in the end?
Exactly.
Do we just want Amazon Prime electric trucks delivering everything? Well, drones. If that happens, there won't be anybody in the communities earning anything to buy anything.
We're like rapidly heading that way.
Well, it is the upward move. It's the upward transfer, isn't it, of wealth, just to wipe out the smaller businesses.
Yeah, and I think that the top 1%, and I mean, people have broke down these numbers before. The top 1% like earns so much more than the whole lower half that it's ridiculous. And I think they have enough that they can, like, you would think, well, how are they going to afford to feed the people? I don't think that will even affect them. And I think that they have a means in a way that they think they can section things off and it won't affect them. And they're just going to control everything like that. And
it's not the America I would like to see. And I'm not talking about legislation to stop corporate success, but I think they could level the starting point a bit, because a lot of these large corporations, they can borrow next to nothing. Whereas a mid or small business, good luck if you to borrow anything to develop your business. Banks are not interested.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's what, like, with a lot of this new alphabetical ridiculousness that we see out there, where you have places like Farmer Supply having these readings for kids with the alphabet people, and you have these companies that you would think, and with the Bud Light and all the Doritos, like, they lose lots of value, and people are like, that's the whole go broke statement, right? And but I was watching someone the other day who had a little video out, documentary, and he was showing how it's not about anymore them making the money there. They don't care that they're losing. They have other ways that they're making that up on the other side, and so they don't care about their losses. Like, the average business person looks at that and kind of shakes his head and says, what in the world? But
I think the IRS rules are you can run a business at a loss, but after about 3 years, they start to look at it as you're doing it deliberately for some reason.
Yeah.
Whereas I think Amazon didn't make a profit for over 10 years. It was just burning cash. Really? And you look at Rivian. I mean, Rivian are burning over 100. Is it over $100 and something thousand per vehicle they make? It's like, I think they're losing, it's billions per quarter. Yet the Saudi sovereign wealth fund keeps pumping money into them. It's like, well, what is the plan?
Right. There's some means to an end there that.
Yeah, it's and even Tesla. You look at how their share price is. I think their share price to earnings, it's something like a factor of 60, whereas the industry norm's about 6 to 10 in car manufacturing. Wow. There are some really weird distortions out there for sure.
Yeah. Well, you see it, like I remember seeing this a long time ago, how Walmart moves in with their low prices and they just keep them so low, like you say, even if they're losing value, because they know within a month or two the grocery store next door is going to be out of business because there's no way to compete with that.
Yeah, and it's mixed. I mean, I remember supermarkets starting in the UK and in England. Give you an idea how old I am now. And a lot of the smaller shops weren't that good. They had old not out of date, but old backdated product, and the prices were high. So, but there is a balance, isn't there, of how big you want the corporations to be.
Yeah, I mean, that seems, at least it's good to have, at least on your everyday goods like groceries. I mean, you need that competition, where you have your smaller, you're just your mom and pops who, yeah, they have to make money, but at the same time, if you just get, one group in there, and then they can have complete control over things, and that's not good here, so yeah. Okay, let's see. So did we talk since the Fed cut? I'm not sure if we did. We should probably.
I don't think we did. I think it was all predicted before, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, people often, that is often used as a case that the precious metals go up because of perceived loss of opportunity by turning your currency into money, and the money not earning interest. They see that as a tailwind behind the metals. But I think I watched a George Gammon program, and he showed that there's no real correlation.
Yep.
I think in the medium and long term, they will give an account. Precious metals will give an accounting of the currency debasement, and we've said many times, haven't I? I'm sure I've said it many times on your show. There's 55 times more currency around the world now than there was in 1980.
Yep.
And the world is not 55 times richer.
Right. Yeah, indeed. Yeah. So yeah, I didn't know that. I don't think it's going to really, 50 basis points is not very much, right? I mean, that's probably not going to have the greatest effect. I would have thought, like a lot of people say, and I would agree, if you were to do anything, you should have kept hiking them to, if you're, I mean, at least from where I'm looking at the inflation when I go grocery shopping, to see us be cutting now, it's like, whoo.
No, it's probably more like 10% for the average basket of goods. I haven't looked lately at the Chapwood index or shadow stats. I don't know if somebody's in the comments has got time to pull up what shadow stats or the Chapwood index are saying inflation is. But my instinct, it's more like 10%. I mean, I think talking to an insurance rep, he's saying he's seen insurance premiums go up by 60% year on year.
Yeah.
So if you're on a lower income and a bigger proportion of your income is paying all of your house insurance and your car insurance and your health insurance, it's like your personal inflation rate is a lot more than 3% or whatever they're saying it is. Yep. But it does put the Fed in a corner, lying about inflation, lying about unemployment with the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, which is just a whole pile of baloney, their figures. So if they're lying about interest rates, you're right. They probably should have been putting them up if they genuinely want to calm down the effects of the currency debasement.
Yeah.
But they're not interested. I really don't think they're interested. They're just, at the end of the day, they're looking out for their own interests, and the people that own them, their interests.
Yep.
That's what, as far as the Federal Reserve goes.
Yep.
They have this myth of all the different ones. You've got the Denver one, haven't you? The Philadelphia, and all the different branches. And was it the employees of the Fed? Was it there's more PhDs work at the Federal Reserve than anywhere else in the world or something? I don't know. They all have these qualifications. Yeah, we seem, the partial results of their actions are more and more volatility, boom and bust, accelerated.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's kind of it. I think their biggest eye is on how the public is viewing what they should do, and I think they try to make it look like they're having an effect, and I think that it's going to start to show here pretty quick that they don't have control over things, and then I don't know what's going to come of that. But
no, I mean they don't have control over it, but they sure know how to front run everything. And they can push things in a certain direction that are moving in that direction, and they can prolong things, and they can shorten events. So, people often talk about it, it's like they're playing a game of 4D chess on a board that we can't even comprehend with pieces. We have no idea what moves they do. And we're stuck on 2D chess board.
Yeah.
It's like, and, if you try and figure out everything, I think the best thing for me I found is just keep it simple. Buy what you understand.
Yeah. Right. I would agree with that. I thought the pager explosions was a pretty interesting little thing that happened.
Oh my, how did they pull that off? That was pretty. And then walkie-talkies, and then some solar devices.
Oh, really? I didn't hear about the walkie-talkies.
Yeah, about 2-3 days later, and they did the walkie-talkies. But what also they did with the page? Well, I mean, I'm presuming because it would have been Hezbollah operatives who would have had the pager, so they would have been going to the hospital. I'm sure they had people. Mossad had people at the hospitals counting the people in and out, getting their names and details.
Probably.
So not only were the ones that were wounded bad enough to go to hospital, now their cover is blown.
Yeah,
that might be part of the
operation.
Body operation, and it is so divisive, isn't it? I mean, you see people who are not connected directly, not threatening Israel directly, the civilians, and you see the destruction of their lives, of their businesses and their homes. It is horrific.
Yeah.
But I did hear somebody say, I can't remember who it was, but they said if Israel laid down all of their weapons and so that's it, we're not fighting anybody ever again, there would be no Israel.
Right.
And if Hezbollah and Hamas laid down their weapons and stopped throwing bombs at Israel and threats, there'd be peace. Unfortunately, people get very tribal, don't they? And I can understand it when you see the suffering. Children and babies literally starving to death now.
Yeah, that's horrible.
In the Gaza Strip. But Israel washed their hands. Sorry, Egypt washed their hands of the Palestinians. They didn't want. I mean, they were in charge of the Gaza Strip for a long time.
Yeah.
I wonder if you actually put a group of normal, well, as normal as we can get, Palestinians and Jews together, whether they'd actually work something out and just sack all of their leaders. I don't know. Maybe we would do the same here. If you put a group of normal people who aren't too indoctrinated together, we'd probably work out a better way of running the country than having an elephant or a donkey do it.
Yeah,
I have nothing about elephants and against elephants and donkeys, the animals, but the parties they represent, I think they're a joke.
No, yeah.
So now I've upset everybody who's tribal.
Yeah, well, no, yeah, it's hard to do now during this next few months of chaos. Everybody's going to be offended about everything.
I've got a friend down in South Carolina, and when Trump was elected in 2016, he said, "Now it's safe to talk about religion."
So the money supply, thanks Space Miner, dropping some shadow government stats here, and we got
what's their inflation showing?
So yeah, blue is,
can you read the scale? I can't.
SPS alternate CPI, and then the red is the 1980 based
measure.
Yep. So we're up at more like, we come down a bit. We're like 11%.
And they're telling us it's 3 or 2.6 or
right.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and unemployment is up pretty good. So,
and that's using the 1980s government methods, isn't it?
Right. Yeah.
Because there's also the Chatwood Index have built their own measure using, I think it's a basket of 100 goods and services, and then they do it for 50 of the largest cities, I think, across these United States.
Okay.
But you're right. I mean, if the theory is interest rates have to be higher than inflation to bring inflation down by destroying demand, by destroying employment, by destroying people's lives, taking their homes off them.
Yeah.
What a scummy setup it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just leave us alone.
That's it, man.
I think leave us alone. We'd look after each other, wouldn't we? I think.
Well, yeah. I mean,
we wouldn't mess. You know,
I mean, you can even look at history and come to that conclusion by looking at the monetary standards and the rise and falls of empires, and that seems to be pretty evident from what I see.
Yeah,
but
and it's a killer, isn't it? I mean, if life expectancy, well, actually, it's not increasing, is it? I think the average male life expectancy in these United States is 79. I think it's low. I think I'm correct in saying that.
Yeah, no, I heard our life expectancy is down now in the compared to other countries.
You know, and if the average retirement age is 65, I don't even know that in the US. And I guess it changes across history, doesn't it? I mean, when they first started giving pensions in England, they didn't expect the recipients to claim it. They expected them to work and die and never actually collect back what they'd paid in. In fact, I think it was the Anglican Church who started pensions, and they worked out they could give a pay cut to all of their vicars and priests and just say, yeah, we'll give you a pay cut, but when you retire, you'll get an income, knowing that they would never be able to claim it.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
and the same things happen now, isn't it? I mean, the promise of the IRAs to keep paying out endless gains, the promise of the Social Security Fund, which is bankrupt near enough, isn't it, to pay out all of the unfunded liabilities. They can't do it. It's not going to happen. So what happens to all of those people who haven't, for whatever reason, many reasons, managed to save up? It's I don't know. I mean, when I was younger, I worked my butt off construction 6 days a week, 12 hours a day for years, so I could buy another house on borrowed money, but enough to get the deposit and fix it up. And I sort of knew then this is the only way I've got a chance of ever retiring.
Yeah.
I've got to get some sort of income that will sort of keep pace with the inflation, even though I had no real concept of central banks, fiat currency. I wasn't thinking of that. I was just observing promises that were given couldn't be kept.
Yeah. Well, I mean, right now with our 401ks, I mean, I don't like how that's set up, where you don't have the option to not put in. Like, yeah, they're matching it, and it's nice in ways, but you should have it's your money. You should get that first, and maybe you might agree to putting it in there, but
can you put Gerald's comment up there?
The pyramid scheme.
He's so right. It is the last generation that pay in as it starts to collapse and can't even pay out. They're the people that don't get anything. Yeah. Not, they don't even get an IOU. They get a who owes you. It's like you don't even know who owes you what you were owed, let alone.
Yep. And you're putting it in, and they're putting it into more paper backed whatever it is, and we're looking at the bubble of all bubbles, and that's nerve-wracking.
So at the end of it, the only thing that really counts, isn't it, is potatoes, chickens, beans, wheat, corn, stuff you can eat, stuff you can wear.
Yeah, food that lasts a long time is a great investment right now, I think. With it.
Sorry?
Food that can keep is a great investment right now, as far as, in my mind.
Yeah, I mean, that could change, couldn't it, with a mass depopulation event.
Yeah.
But then that would probably coincide with mass destruction of farm production as well. I know it was just over 2 years ago, China at one point had bought up 55% of all future grains production, not just wheat. And it was like, well, hang on, they only imported like 14 or 20%. They'd bought way more, and I was thinking, I don't think those contracts will ever be honored if it really gets that
off. Yeah, well, that could definitely I can see that being a case,
because we've probably got to that point where we're peaking out on production, and the intensive farming might actually start to have some negative effects. I know soil compaction can be a big damaging factor. If you use heavy machinery, you can compact the soil up to 10 feet down, and that stops drainage. It kills off earthworms. It really messes up the whole ecosystem of soil.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of happening right now with our farms and farmers, especially with the chemicals they use for weeding and then for growing both together. And it's made in such a way that it kills off the natural way of doing things. And then you are dependent upon doing it through them. And then if they cut your supply because of XYZ new Green Deal, yada, yada, now you're in a hurting situation.
Yeah. So what have we got to look forward to then? Let's get something cheerful.
Yeah. Well, the cheerful thing is, I mean, gold and silver is doing what they're supposed to do.
Well, I would say it hasn't done it yet.
Sure, no, but I mean,
but yes, in dollar terms, it's definitely moving. Yeah, I think I do remember buying some silver for about half what it is now. Has that kept up with the American stock market indexes? No, but I don't have to sell my silver to bank the gain.
And I knew it's going to be late. Like I think with them holding it down, it's going to be late, but it's still going, and it's happening now. And I mean, if you invest in something else, but when I put my money in, both of them, gold or silver, have doubled.
Yeah.
And so even though that hasn't kept up with inflation, it's way better than if I would have kept it in the dollar or just spent it. Yeah. So for me, it's doing what even though I agree it hasn't done what we're waiting for yet, and I think it's still coming. But
I am sure within a year or two, the privacy factor, people will wake up to the value of having purchasing power stored privately.
Yep.
I am convinced we're going to see unrealized gains taxation. We're going to see wealth tax. And it doesn't matter which party gets elected, they're going to increase taxation. If it's one side, there'll be 20% tariffs on everything. So that'll be 20% sales tax increase on everything that we import. And if it's the other side, it will be unrealized gains. It will be wealth tax, probably targeted at the wealthier section. But either way, overall taxation, I think, is going to increase to try and mitigate the exorbitant deficit spending.
Yeah, no, it's a good point, JM. That's true. Yeah, and you were just saying, Ian, earlier that it broke or gold had broke 2,000 pounds. What did you say?
2,000 pounds. I took a picture on the laptop. Yeah, it broke a live high of 2,000 pounds. And I remember gold being 14 pounds. And I remember when gold was 100 and something, and asking my dad about gold. And I hope he doesn't get to watch this, but I remember him telling me, he's like, yeah, it's a greater fool principle. The only reason people buy gold because they think somebody more stupid than them will pay more for it.
Yeah.
And now I know that was put out there. It was an intensive psychological operation in the media, in newspapers. I mean, Maneko 64, he often pulls out that newspaper clip going gold.
Yep.
Gold is $400, and they're talking about a relic, and they're good riddance that it disappears. It's like, and I think that was in the Financial Times. I seem to remember.
Yep.
And so, that was the narrative. That this stuff. And I mean, other people call it as just a rock that you dig out.
And
then you bury it then you bury it in a vault, and it's
yellow rock. Yep.
Yeah, and I can sort of understand it on gold, but I guess the reason is originally it was the scarcest metal. It took a fair bit of effort to find it, turn it into a coin. But I think the use case for silver as money is way greater.
Yeah. Oh, and everything else combined in with it. Yeah.
But because it's depleting.
Yep.
Whereas gold is increasing.
And more uses.
More and more uses. I mean, just that Samsung solid state battery.
Oh, 30 ounces a car, I heard. Crikey's a battery.
30 kilo. Yeah, a typical car would need 32 ounces, which is interesting because that's what Keith Neumeyer was saying back in early 2021.
Yep.
And I remember repeating it and getting some not pleasant comments.
Yeah. Well, the first experiences I had was at a gun show, and I was working a table with some people, and we were moving silver and gold, and I was telling people, we were talking back and forth, and I said, well, if you I was talking to this one guy, and I said, well, he's like, well, you can't use anything, you can't pay for that in the store, and I said, well, you can't pay directly, but I said, if you put it in this now and you wait a while,
it's a daft. It is really an unthinking comment. Oh, you can't buy food with it. It's like, well, you can't buy food if you buy a house. You can't buy food with your house, can you? But you can sell the house, or you can rent the house. You
take a loan on the house,
and then you use that currency to buy what you want. You don't use the commodity directly,
right?
I mean, that is just such a daft. Oh, you can't buy food, or you can't eat it. It's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, when that wasn't even, and the point of it was, I was saying, well, you put it in silver and hold it for a while, and then when you go to the grocery store, you go sell your silver and take that cash, and when you go to the grocery store next time, you'll be able to buy twice as many groceries. And he's like, oh, that's a lie, blah 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 blah. It's like, okay, but now
it's true now, isn't it? If you
it's dead true right now. So
exactly, if you manage to buy at that 2020 low of $11, you've nearly got 3 times your purchasing power.
Yep.
So space miners doing some osmium research there. That's interesting. I wonder if the Osmium Institute are hoarding a bit more. Hoarding's not the right word. Collecting. There you go. That's a better word.
Yeah, spectronomy uses osmium texture. Yeah, I seen that. Yep. Yeah. In fact, I was going to ask that the microscopes that they're using to identify the 3D imaging for the Osmium Institute may use osmium in the
microscope.
In the microscopes, do they? I was wondering that.
Possibly,
yeah. I thought that was kind of interesting. Yeah. So speaking on osmium, what's new in the osmium world? What's
I think Space Miner put up today's spot earlier. I think it's $1,657 a gram, and I think he converted that to $51,000 a troy ounce.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and so they use that spot price, but I was, and maybe you know more about this, but they take like a combination, right? They use the spot price as it's rising, and then they also have the physical market products that as those sell, they kind of combine and do a.
So yeah, I mean, they've used various methods, but at the end of the day, it's a private monopoly who manufacture it, and it's a private monopoly, the Osmium Institute, who cuts and certifies and distributes it.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, they decide the price.
Right, and they don't.
If they put it at $10,000 a gram tomorrow, sales would possibly dry up. I don't know. So they're balancing inventory, rate of production, rate of sales, harvest rate.
Yep.
a bit of the currency. I mean, obviously the dollar weakening has caused the spot price to rise in dollars.
Right.
So I think we come down to 100 on the DXY.
I don't know. We can pull it up though. Yeah, the only reason I was saying that is just because there is a noticeable difference. Like, you can't just watch the spot market and your piece follows exactly along with that, from what I understood anyway. But
no,
right. But yeah, otherwise it's obviously on.
But I think they've probably got the world's largest holding of physical raw osmium, possibly their 300 kilo reserve.
We're at 100.9.
Okay, so we're getting close to 100. Interesting.
Let me see. I can probably just share that.
I mean, historically, that's not actually dramatic, is it? When you look right to the beginning, when they set it up, the DXY, if you go back to all time.
Okay, I'm not used to this chart, but
should have, here you go, bottom right, you've got an all-time change there.
Oh, yep. Okay.
So
yeah.
Down.
How many? Where do you want to go to? 6 month?
All time, really. I mean, I think it's the only way you can get an idea of trends. It's not. It's pretty flat if you average that out.
Yeah.
Nothing really, I mean, you had was it 1980 something, that spike? That's when we had the Plaza Accord. That spike there. I'm pretty certain that was a Plaza Accord, and there was a secret meeting. They decided to overnight devalue the dollar by 15%, and that caused that downward correction. But I think a lot of it is smoke and mirrors, isn't it? Because you're exchanging a fiat currency for a fiat currency.
For sure.
So exchanging something that's backed by nothing to something else that's backed by nothing. It's like, what does it all mean anyway?
That's why I think, like, we're kind of lucky that we're seeing what, like, I think that now that the dollars break or the gold is breaking these, I think some of that stuff is, it could, like, there's so much air in it. There's so many different outcomes that could happen. But I think now that we're topped out there, it's just going to become more obvious and more, from my point of view, so
when you look at that chart,
but that's a solid, steady chart.
It's a little lower, isn't it? Look, do you want to zoom in on the 2007 low? Okay. What did we get down to there? 80 something. You had your cursor over the 2007.
So
keep sliding right. Keep going right. It was around 80, so we could drop 72. So 100 is pretty high compared to that, isn't it?
Yep.
But I think I mean, it's great if you're a currency trader. I wish I'd changed some dollars for pounds when it was nearly 1 for 1.
Well, see, that's what I know so little about that. But I was listening to Peter Schiff, and he was saying he was expecting, well, for sure, the emerging markets. I know I've been, and with his, I think I have some of my 401k with him in that area, but it sounded like he was talking currencies, other currencies may strengthen too. And I was kind of wondering that's what we were talking about last time, is how are those other countries going to start? I wonder what their dollar is going to start.
I guess that, but part of the pretense is what the state of that country's finance, their borrowing, their imports, exports. I guess a whole lot of factors there.
And whether they hold off on printing, like, I'm sure in some ways it's great for the country to be able to print, which they probably can now, but at the same time, if they hold off, it may strengthen their currency as compared to others. So that's interesting to me.
Which would make their exports more expensive, which would mean they'd export less. Imports would become cheaper, so they'd import more, and then it would, if things were left to move freely, you would have thought everything would balance out.
Yeah, it's probably what we're going to see, right? Is kind of a balancing on it with a steady decline overall.
Silver Boy Blues has got a good comment there. Does the Osmium Institute monopolize all osmium? So they never set out to monopolize it. It's just a Swiss scientist, Rolf, spent 5 decades now, refining and perfecting the process. And no one else has come close to the quality and the level of excellence that they can produce it in Switzerland. So a natural monopoly is just developed. And then 10, 11 years ago, Ingo Wolf met Rolf and saw the value in the beautiful form of osmium. And they've been on a mission ever since to purchase every gram of ethically produced osmium worldwide that they could find. So they've naturally developed a very strong monopoly.
Yep. And it's making more sense to me. I remember when we were first talking, I was a little scratching my head, like how there's, that somebody else isn't going to take off with it, but I'm understanding a little bit more. I think you might be right there. So,
and no, in the industrial uses, medical uses, it's used in the raw form, not in the crystalline form, because of the extensive costs in crystallizing it and then cutting and certifying it. It's once it's in a bar, it's staying. That's never going to be available for a microscope or anything else. That's going to stay in this form. So that's part of the squeeze effect, that it will become so rare that the amount that gets used up and then turned into crystalline form, and it looks like that's possibly starting from what Space Miner said about there being an apparent shortage of the raw osmium.
And why, and what's that doing? Yeah, there's a short. So what's that going to do? I didn't quite follow what you mean there.
So the 300 kilos they have left to crystallize, and the total of 350 kilos, because they've crystallized 50. That has a dramatic effect on the availability of non-crystallized osmium, because it was isolated in 1804.
Sure, I see what you mean.
Yeah. So yes, you can turn it back to the raw osmium, and they do when they're cutting it. If they get a defective piece or an offcut that they can't cut into a piece, that does get crushed, purified, and gets run back through the system.
But also kind of on.
But you'd be, if you took this piece, which is I didn't even check the price on this bit, but that's probably about $3,500, $4,000, $5,000. You're not going to destroy that value by turning it into $200, $300, $400 of raw osmium or whatever it would cost.
And they are only using ethically mined osmium,
ethically produced beyond any doubt,
and is coming raw from the mine in sponge forms, and they have what they call what do you call it, Ian, where they smash it into cubes. Anyway, they also have it in kind of like a bar form, but people can't sell that to the Osmium Institute.
Oh, sintered, when you when you take the refined powder and you crush it under heat and with heat, and you can form a solid piece. I mean, they do that with other metals as well. They do that with rhenium is sintered. I think mainly because it's such a high melting point, to be able to cast an ingot out of it would be incredibly expensive.
Yeah, so it's not, you don't want to go buying those cubes and then think, oh, I'm going to go take these and sell them to the Institute, because
they won't buy them because there's no proof where it came from. And a lot of them are very contaminated. They'll have a lot of the other noble metals in them, because you can't check it by density, because the very nature of a sintered metal, there's air gaps. You can only approach the maximum density. So you can get to like 98, 99% possibly. So there could be lots of impurities of metals of a close density, and you would never be able to work that out without expensive testing, which the Osmium Institute had developed with their systems. Actually do that as a separate offering.
Cool. We got Ricky's House of
He's
Crap.
asking about those Comex bar slicers. Yeah, we're gonna have to be a little bit more patient. We're gonna have to wait for premiums to move, because premiums are so low on minted products. There's very little demand for slices.
But
I think we will,
when it comes to this channel.
I think it will turn quickly. But I could find you another one or two if you really need one or two, Ricky. So.
And yeah, there's save one or two. I know I have more demand for those. Those are hotcakes, Ian.
Are they?
Yes.
I did see somebody showed me an ad. I think it was Ricky. He showed me an ad. Somebody was trying to sell one for like double spot, like 100% premium. It was like that was not the idea behind them. The idea behind them was to keep premiums down.
Yeah. Well, that's what I would remember when I came to you. So you're onto something here, and especially with this Comex bar one. Now, when you know the slice thing by itself, is maybe not quite as much, but you had quite a thing going there. I'm glad I got my piece, because I think I would probably pay a pretty high. In fact, I was going to pay a high premium for that, and was blown away at the deal you gave me, and so that was really exciting. But
I could always send you another invoice. Don't worry.
Well,
but no, I've got local clients who've got quite a stack of them. So
cool.
Yeah, we will eventually start making them again. But it will take premiums to rise, unfortunately.
Yeah. No. Yep. No. The whole.
No, unfortunately, yeah. I mean, it's fascinating times. I've never seen premiums so compressed.
You know what, though, Ian? I would almost say to you that you're on to such a product that I bet you could still sell some of those at the premiums even now. I mean, I'm not saying go out and buy it. Don't do that. But I mean, I'm trying to say that I think that especially with the Comex connection, I mean, that's kind of the connection there. So
yeah, because not many people can buy the whole 70-pound 1,000-ounce bar. Yeah.
Right. Indeed. All right. Well, we are at an hour. What do you have for silver deals going on right now before the whirlwind starts coming through? I think sales are going to start up there.
I don't know. Did we show these last time? We just managed to secure a good stash of these. Oh, let me get them.
There you go.
For bulk quantity, we got these as low as $1.25 premium.
Wow, on a guinea coin.
That's not a mistake. At $1.25.
That's nice.
That's lower than a Buffalo round.
That's amazing. That's a great deal.
And
those are coins. Those are actual coins, right? Yep.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a deal.
And hopefully we've got a reasonable quantity of 1/2 ounce New Zealand minted coins, and those will be probably sub 10-ounce bar pricing per ounce. Okay. Oh, your volume's gone. Long lived.
I jumped out for a second. Hold on here. What I got a Star Wars coin. What kind of Star Wars? Star Trek. Yeah, I think that's what I have. What are you looking for, Space Miner? I got this one, Proof 70 Ultra Cameo Star Trek.
Whoa.
And it's concave. It's actually a pretty cool coin. It's concave.
Silverboy Blues lost his connection. Here we go. Let's run the promo again. We have St. Helena, 1.25 ounce guineas. So beautiful detailed coin.
Yeah, that's a great deal. That's an amazing deal.
So we've got these as low as $1.25 over genuine spot, not inflated spot. They work out about just over $40 a coin. I've seen them on eBay for $49.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, here we go. This is the one I have, Space Miner. 2016 Tuvalu Star Trek High Relief Proof 70 Ultra Cameo, and it's like a concave kind of convex thing going on there. It's a thick case, concave on both sides, kind of nice.
Oh yeah,
G of the Queen there.
What date is that one?
2016. Nice.
Where did you find that?
That was back in the day when I was with another company, 7K, and I got in. That's where I bought a lot of the first coins I bought because I didn't know silver and gold very well. We're all Proof 70 Eagles, or then I also moved into the specialty coins, and that's where I got a bunch of actually decent.
Okay.
But the specialty coins I got from them were actually some good deals in there. But I was paying for a bunch of MS-70 Eagles just for a paper insert at the top, and not necessarily the best deal there. But
no, I mean, because I think the bulk come out at a 70 grade anyway, don't they?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, it's just getting it put in the holder and labeled right away.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay, cool. We'll talk Space Miner. Sounds good. All right, Ian. What else you got? Want to leave everybody with here?
Oh, we need Neil. What's Neil's exhortation? Be kind.
Kind, helpful, and grateful. Because
that's it. Be kind, helpful, and grateful. Ignore the politicians. If any, they're not here to help us.
Yep.
I think they're here to help themselves.
I am with you on that one. Space Miner says he needs an ARK bar. I have a 2-ounce ARK bar, but I need a 10-ounce ARK bar as well. He has some.
I have a few left of Type 1 and Type 2s.
I think he's holding on to them kind of tight. I've been trying.
I will. You can have one. Well, you can't have one. I'll sell you one.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, get a hold of him, Space Miner. He's got some. At the time being, I don't know how long he will.
Oh, Silverboy Blues. I think it's a 2022 half-ounce dolphin.
Type 1, if possible.
Yeah, I have a Type 1 ARK bars available.
There you go.
So I will let you know, long-lived, soon as I get the half-ounce specials in.
Okay, cool. Beautiful. You hear that, Silverboy Blues? All right, guys. Well, thank you all so much for showing up and hanging out with us. And Ian, as always, we'll be happy to get you back up here in a bit, and we'll go through things again. Hang with me 1 second. I'm going to ask you a couple things off air here. But everybody out in the chat, thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us today. And we will be back this weekend for sure, if not sooner. Oh, check this out, guys. So for my next time we have an auction here on this side, I have cameras. So let me show you off some of my cameras here. So I'll have, that's my Osmium. So I'll have this corner here camera showing my, I don't have it labeled, but I'll have my deal of the day, my buy it now special on camera always, so that you can know what's going on all the time instead of me having to show you every once in a while. And then also I can switch over to my microscope. So this is a direct feed shot of osmium through the microscope. And I can even make it full screen.
Whoa.
So yeah, we're moving up over here. So ready to go. And I did pass my test, and I am an official Osmium certified dealer.
Hey, congratulations.
Thank you, Ian. And thanks, Ian. Everybody here, Ian, you know, I just went down there and met him. I was just going to grab this bar from him, and man, it turned out I got so much more. He's a great friend, a great guy to work with, and has helped me and is helping me in ways I never would have thought. So thank you so much, Ian. And
my pleasure.
Everybody out there, this is the type of guy who, you know, if you shake his hand, his word means what he says, and he's a good guy to work with. So that's not something you can always find nowadays. So thank you so much, Ian, and thanks to everyone out there. Welcome in, Crafty Stacker. We're just shutting her down, but thanks for stopping by, and we will catch you all on the next one.